Well, it's not breaking news to some of you that this Labour government and Karma are losing confidence and losing support day by day. The future looks extremely bleak for the Prime Minister. Now, today, of course, we've seen him come to Prime Minister's questions and make a laugh and a joke, continue to gaslight, blame, and not take any accountability for the whole Chinese spy scandal cover-up that looks more increasingly like a huge cock-up from the government. Now, we're probably going to have to wait a little bit longer to find out what actually went on. However, today we're just going to show you how far Labour have fallen and the so-called Red Wall has completely collapsed and fell. As always, guys, let's break this down. We've got two stories to discuss, including this, whilst also going over a Labour MP being chucked out of the a debate with Lee Anderson. Hit like, hit subscribe, and let's get into the first story. So, a new bombshell mega poll has projected that Nigel Farage would earn the largest Commons majority in modern political history if a general election was held tomorrow. Reform UK are on course to win 445 seats, while Labour would be down to just 73 MPs and the Tories, well, they would just have 7. Now, let's take a look at what Lee Anderson said. And as you can see, this poll just shows how bleak Labour's future actually is. They have gaslighted the whole world thinking they have a massive support. But this is a real reflection in real time just how far their support has fallen. And in fact, we were sort of brainwashed or tried to sop that they won by a landslide victory. Us here, we know well majority of people didn't vote and that's the reason as to why they got in. But even by their standards and them having so much support just over a year ago, this is what they have succumbed to due to their lies and how they have ran the country. Now the estimated seats won by each party if an election was held tomorrow is that you would see Reform with a huge 445, Labour with 73. I mean the Conservatives, that's another conversation in itself, the just 7. But as you can see, this is how Lee Anderson reacted to this news. He said, as astounding poll, the mega poll is by company PLMR with electoral calculus and published by the Daily Mail overnight. It would see Reform win 445 MPs, Labour 73 MPs, Lib Dems 42 MPs, your party 13 MPs, and Tories 7 MPs with a handful of Greens. It projects Reform would return an earth-shattering majority of 258, which is more than Baldwin in 1924. Now, this is where it gets even worse for the Labour Party. Along with YouGov, it's killed dead. The Cammy bounce narrative. In fact, she loses her seat to Reform. And Rachel Reeves, Yvette Cooper, Bridget Phillips, and Ed Miliband would all be ousted by Reform. Robert Jean-Rick, Cella Braveman, Richie Sun, and IDS would also lose their seats to Reform. Shabana Mahmood and West Streeting would also lose their seats, but this time to your party. Now, this just goes to show how much danger they are actually in. And these polls actually do have a good representation on what's currently going on in the country at this moment in time. But that if you are a Reform supporter is a huge positive, and Lee Anderson of course celebrating and posting about it. But this should be get alarm bells ringing for the Labour Party. Rachel Reeves, Yvette Cooper, Bridget Phillips, Ed Miliband would all lose their seats and Shabana Mahmood and West Streeting would also lose their streets, which is real-time evidence just how bad they're running this country. Now, keeping on the subject of Lee Anderson, guys, we've seen Lee Anderson call out Sadiq Khan and a Labour MP was then thrown out. Yes, Neil Coyle, MP, was thrown out of the debate after repeatedly interrupting Lee Anderson's scathing assessment of Sadiq Khan. The chair had enough and ordered Coyle to leave. Let's have a watch of this footage. I'm going to make some progress because I know there's a lot of people want to speak in this very important debate. I've always talked to intervention. This isn't a coincidence and it is a classic case. I believe of a mayor who could not care less. He would sooner spend his time calling everybody who disagrees with him. I've just said not to give way, Miss McVeigh. He would sooner spend his time calling everybody who disagrees with him a racist rather than stopping these endless knife attacks on the streets of London. I remind members that it's down to the Speaker to accept or not. Is it a point of order? Well, I'll listen to your point of order and then we'll decide if it was. Thank you very much. And the point I want to share is that where members are all required to not mislead the House or accidentally mislead the House. There is an issue with some of the figures that have just been presented, and I just wonder whether you could encourage the member to either give the dates for the figures he was using which show that they'll be out of date, or use the correct data which show that knife crime has fallen in the capital. Something we should welcome together. Yeah. It wasn't a point. It wasn't a point in the record. Would you like to leave the Westminster Hall when we're done? Yeah. I'd actually ask you now to leave. Lee Anderson. You, Miss McBain, it's not the first time the honorable member has been thrown out of a room on this estate. Yeah. Well, that just shows everything you need to know about this Labour Party and people speaking and criticizing what they're all about. I don't understand these Sadiq Khan supporters, the ones that try and stand by him when the figures say otherwise. His popularity says otherwise as well. I'm hoping, with the next mayoral elections, yes, a little bit away, that he'll also be ousted in due course as well. But yeah, I like Lee Anderson, of course, and I like the Reform Party, of course, always coming out and literally calling out what these individuals are currently doing. The Labour Party always loved to present gaslighting 101, and it's clear for everybody to see, and in fact it's clear for the whole public to see what their agenda is certainly all about. And again, credit to Lee Anderson and credit to the Reform MPs that still hold these individuals to account. However, I do want to and eagerly look forward to seeing Karma's new evidence with regard to the Chinese spy scandal, because we didn't really get any answers today in PMQs whatsoever. And again, it was just more of the same from him as he tries to wriggle and come up with an excuse to that lets him get off the hook. Well, time will tell whether he does manage to get out of this one, but history suggests that he probably will. The manipulator always gets out of things unscathed. He's just that way inclined. Guys, do let me know your thoughts on the bombshell poll that has been released today. Do let me know your thoughts with Reform's majority. Do let me know your thoughts in the state of Labour and the Conservatives if a general election was going to be held tomorrow. And also let me know your thoughts on the segment from Westminster Hall. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button.